So, my career has been mostly in engineering and aerospace. So I spent a lot of time working in industrial settings, factories, manufacturing plants. So I kind of naturally am inclined towards working in that type of environment. I think it's a lot of fun. I got involved in Baghouse.com in 2022 when I took over the company through a very kind of fortuitous chain of events. It just so happened that I was looking for something outside of aerospace and engineering. This company was out there, and I met Dave, the previous owner. I met Dominic, and the stars kind of aligned in a sense that there was this great business. It was a little different from what I'd worked in the past, but it really lined up well with my own personal interests and experience in terms of industrial equipment, engineering, manufacturing, and industrial customer base. And so it just seemed like a lot of fun, and it turned out that is in fact the case. It is a lot of fun. And I found that people misunderstand a lot about industrial dust collection systems, mostly because for our customers, dust collection is sort of a secondary concern. Their concern is their process, right? Their concern is churning out product, their production schedules, uptime in their facilities, and whatever their core business is. To them, to many customers, dust collection is sort of a secondary thing. It doesn't create product for them. So it's kind of a niche thing that sometimes causes problems in their facility and in their process, but doesn't directly contribute to their bottom line. So what happens is they'll kind of give it a secondary or not so much attention. And over the years, dust collection systems require a lot of upkeep, maintenance, knowledge to keep them running. And if they're not given the attention they need, over time they tend to degrade. Changes get made that aren't very well thought out. And before you know it, customers will just see that their facility is dusty and the processes aren't working as well as they should. So there really is a lot of engineering, thought, and experience required to design, to size, to install, to maintain and operate dust collection systems. They're a fairly complex system, and they should be thought of as a part of the production process rather than just a thing that you need because over time, like I said, if you don't give it the focus it needs, it won't perform as well as it should. It'll end up having impacts on your main process in terms of downtime, employee satisfaction, potential health and safety issues, and that kind of thing. Plant managers, operations managers, facility owners, they should think of dust collection as part of their process because in two senses. Number one, in many cases that is literally true. The dust collection system is collecting product or dust that's later reused and injected into the process. So it's an integral part of the process. In that case, I think it's obvious. But in many other cases, dust collection is pulling nuisance dust out of the process or out of the product. And if that system isn't functioning right, then there's not only health and safety concerns, nuisance dust in the air that can affect your employees, but it can literally stop your process. If you're not pulling out the dust, the nuisance dust, you may end up having product contamination. You have processes that are at risk of getting gummed up with dust and other things. And you have your employees that are there having to deal with nuisance dust, environmental health, safety concerns. And if that gets bad enough, then your process is going to stop, resulting in downtime and so forth. So on both those counts, dust collection is a part of the process. It shouldn't be thought of as just kind of a secondary concern for compliance. It's there to keep your process clean and safe. It's there to keep your employees clean and safe. And in many cases, it's actually a part of the process where you're utilizing that captured dust for something in the process. When we walk into a plant, there's a lot of common problems we see. Number one, it's dusty, right? The dust collection system is there to remove nuisance dust from the process, from the air, from the factory. So if you walk in and it's dusty, you can pretty fairly say that you have a dust collection issue. Now, usually that sort of narrows down into one of several other issues, often having to do with the system design and sizing. So, maybe the customer has an undersized dust collection system. It's very common. Maybe it was designed right 10 years ago, but they've added some processes, they've changed the ductwork around, and now the system is undersized and it's not keeping up. Very common. Number two is maintenance issues with the ductwork. So you get holes wearing in the ductwork if you have abrasive dust. You get plugging, and then before you know it, you don't have the airflow you need, you don't have the suction you need in the process, and that's visible by all the dust that collects around the process, in the rafters, on top of ductwork, and you get dust in the facility. Maintenance issues, it's not just with ductwork. The dust collection system itself requires maintenance, daily, weekly, quarterly, yearly maintenance. And if that's not done, then the system breaks down and doesn't perform. That could be simple as just making sure your filters are changed regularly. You have pulse cleaning systems, you have fan bearings and motors that need to be greased and maintained. And so if all those things don't happen, what you get is a system that's slowly but surely degrading over time. So those are the common scenarios we see having to do with system design or changes in design, and then maintenance over time. Yeah, the warning signs that a dust collector is underperforming are, number one, it's constantly getting plugged up or filled up with dust. The filters are getting blinded and plugged and overwhelmed. The differential pressure on the filters is higher than it should be. The fundamental, sign of how your dust collector is doing is the differential pressure gauge, right? So if that's pegged at 7 inches, then you have a problem. That's kind of the first warning sign. Other warning signs are, you're having to change the filters too often. Maybe you have to replace them every 3 weeks. You go to plants and that's happening. That's typically not how the system is designed, so something's wrong if that's the case. Other signs that your operators will see is that you don't have good suction at the pickup points. The vent hoods aren't collecting dust. There's dust billowing out of the process instead of flowing nicely up into your canopy hoods. Things like that. Plugging of the ductwork, and just general dustiness. It's there to remove nuisance dust from your process. So if there's dust escaping, you've got a problem either in the design, the sizing of the dust collector, or the maintenance of the system. Facilities, of course, try to save money wherever they can. And so there's a couple mistakes that we commonly see. Number one, when you talk about the dust collection system itself as a big CapEx project where you're having to spend money on equipment, installation, so forth, customers will sometimes choose the lowest bidder, not realizing that there are some very critical sizing requirements and design requirements for dust collection system. For example, some companies will undersize a dust collector. They'll make it almost big enough, but essentially they'll undersize it a little bit so that they can win on cost. If the buyer is not looking carefully, they may see the 3 quotes that they go get, and they're gonna pick the lowest cost, not realizing that it's, the collector is slightly undersized or the fan is slightly undersized, which is going to lead in future months and years, especially, to a system that's not performing as well as it should. You're gonna have issues with airflow. The velocity may be too low in the ductwork, leading to plugging and accumulation of dust in the ductwork. You don't have the suction quite as much as you need at the pickup points. So that's number one, undersizing. I would say to address that, the responsible engineer or project manager, whoever is responsible for selecting the equipment, number one, make sure you have reputable, knowledgeable suppliers quoting you for equipment. Obviously, I recommend Baghouse.com, be part of that process. And number two, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. So if the system is, 20,000 CFM system, make sure that the equipment quotes that you're looking at have similar filter areas, similar fan horsepower and operating capacity, so that you're looking at apples to apples comparisons, and you're not going to get bit by a supplier who's underbidding with an undersized system, probably knowing that at some point in the future you'll have issues with it. Number two is deferred maintenance. So this is common because, dust collection systems require maintenance. You got to change the filters sometimes. You have to do regular inspections on them. You have to grease the bearings. You have to check the differential pressures. Sometimes you have to change out a timer board or a solenoid or a diaphragm valve. If those things don't get done, whether out of just, not planning or poor planning, or because, trying to save cost, let's not change the filters. Let's wait till next quarter. well, your risk is that you're going to start seeing issues with the dust collection system. Filters are plugged, they should be changed. If you wait, you're not going to have quite as much dust collection. You're going to have higher differential pressures. You're going to have more, dust escaping your process. You're using more power in your filter cleaning systems. Your fans are working harder, and ultimately you're running the risk of filter leakage, emissions, and all kinds of things. So, those are the two big ones. It comes down to sizing and making sure you're getting the right equipment up front, not cutting costs where you shouldn't. And then deferred maintenance, make sure you have good planning for filters, spares, and general maintenance so that your systems will run like they're supposed to in the long run, and you don't end up with, unplanned costs because of that. Yeah, so there's some pretty general maintenance requirements that every facility should be following. Of course, there are some differences based on the type of system you have, the type of equipment, but generally speaking, we have a maintenance checklist that's pretty much applicable to every dust collection system, and it includes daily, weekly, quarterly, and yearly maintenance items. So on the daily items, what your people should be doing is basically just checking the system, a basic inspection, visual, make sure there's not dust coming out the stack, check the differential pressure, make sure that it's within the ranges, make sure there's no weird noises coming from the equipment like squeaking, squealing bearings, screeching fan noises, stuff like that. Weekly, typically we recommend some kind of weekly visual inspection of the filters, a little bit closer look at things like the rotary airlocks, make sure those rotor tips, clearances are good, check the fan balance, put your hand on it, make sure that it's not vibrating, things like that. Quarterly and yearly, it kind of depends on the equipment, but typically you should expect to be changing the filters roughly yearly, of course, depending how your differential pressure is looking, but you should plan for at least a yearly shutdown to change the filters, to inspect, if not change, the pulse valve diaphragms if you have a pulse jet collector, to do a fan balancing, to check the velocity and airflows in your ductwork with pitot tube readings and so forth. Quarterly, you may be doing a leak test of your filters to make sure you haven't, developed any leaks where you're getting dust through the filters and out the stack. But that's pretty typical. We have a checklist which we're happy to provide to any of our customers that they can adapt to their process, give to our maintenance people. That makes it fairly easy. And I will say that if customers are doing that maintenance on the daily, weekly, quarterly, yearly cycle, their dust collection system should last for many years with no problems. We see, all kinds of things. There's a fairly long list of requirements once you start looking at the NFPA requirements for combustible dust and so forth. Some customers are aware that there are requirements. They may not know the full list. So sometimes we'll go to a site and we'll see that they have explosion vents on the baghouses, but nothing else. Or they have an explosion isolation valve, but nothing else. So really, depending on your facility, the type of combustible dust you have, there's a pretty structured list of requirements to meet the NFPA requirements. So, you need to have someone who's an expert in that and who's familiar with that come take a look at your system and let you know what all the requirements are. And usually that includes explosion venting, explosion isolation, both in the ductwork and at the discharge, like an explosion rated drum kit or airlock. There's some special requirements for explosion isolation valves, like minimum distances in the ductwork and heavy gauge ductwork and things like that. You have to have some interlocks between your fan system and the combustible dust safety equipment, so your fan shuts off. Certain types of systems require a spark detection and extinguishing unit of some kind, so detect any sparks before they get to your baghouse, squirt water on them, or drop an abort gate, close an abort gate, something like that. But it really depends on the application. So it's important that you bring in a supplier, consultant, someone who knows those requirements, backward and forward, can come and help you figure out what you need to do so that you don't have to explain to the fire marshal or your regulatory officials there why it's not in compliance. Maybe you have a system in your facility that's not performing as it should. So do you fix it, do you upgrade it, or do you replace it? That's a very good question. I would say factor number one comes down to sizing. If your process has changed, you have more pickups than you originally did when the system was designed, we need to look at your existing dust collector and fan and see if it's if it has the capacity, is it big enough to support your current needs? If not, it's going to be very difficult to reuse that system. You are looking at most likely at replacing it with a system with higher capacity, larger fan, and so forth. In some cases, it's possible to expand the filter area of the Baghouse by putting pleated filters in. You get more filter square footage. So you really need an experienced supplier, customer to come and help you with that decision. That's something that we look at often. Pleated filter upgrades are fairly common. There's some application differences that will tell us if it can be done or if it can't. But really it comes down to system sizing. Like just as if we were going to design a brand new system, we're going to look at how many pickup points you have, the dust type, the expected dust loading, the size of those pickup points, so that we can size the dust collector, we can size the fan, and we can size and design the duct layout. Same thing happens if you have an existing system. We look at all that and say, can we use the current equipment and just redesign it, rebalance the ductwork or something? If not, then we're looking at a replacement or some kind of an upgrade. If I could give one piece of advice to plant managers or project managers for dust collection, I would tell them, find a partner, consultant, supplier who knows dust collection and partner with them for your system. We are happy to share all kinds of information with our customers and potential customers, and they can do a lot of research on their own. They can figure out a lot of, the sizing requirements, the duct requirements. They can do a lot of that on their own, but there's a lot of pitfalls and potential issues. Dust collection is kind of its own niche, engineering discipline, and so you'll avoid a lot of those potential risks, pitfalls, and so forth if you partner with someone who does it full time, rather than trying to spec and design a system, based on information you've pulled from various sources. So my advice: find a good, trusted partner to help you design, size your system, install it, etc., because it'll save you a lot of headaches in the long run. Yeah, the future of dust collection is definitely tied, in my opinion, to monitoring, sensors, and using things like AI and machine learning for predictive maintenance, machine monitoring, asset tracking, and so forth. If you look at the history of dust collection equipment, it's kind of been in slow little jumps, having to do with footprint, efficiency, filter cleaning. And for many years, there's been talk about predictive maintenance and IoT, or Internet of Things, where you have all these connected sensors and they basically automate everything. And only recently has the promise of that IoT connectivity really started to come to fruition. Historically, it's been very expensive. These things haven't worked as well as they should have, and there's a lot of manpower and IT systems and required to get them to do anywhere near what the promise was. But nowadays, with kind of the advent of cheap AI availability, machine learning, the cost of sensors, and the variability of different sensors out there, from airflow sensors to differential pressure sensors to vibration sensors, emission, particulate sensors, all these things, basically the cost has come way down. There's now plug and play systems like we use and deploy Sensory's Dust IQ systems, which is a plug and play operating system where you pick which sensors you want, you configure your system, it's plug and play, and you have a dashboard that has predictive maintenance, it has the AI support. It's really, in my mind, revolutionary, and that it's taken a lot of the manual manpower requirements out of that maintenance inspection cycle that we talked about, because it does take a lot to make sure these systems are running as they should. If you have a person in your plant, a man or woman that has to climb up the ladder to check the differential pressure every day or every Tuesday, that takes a lot of time. It's often not done, and what happens is your filters fail before you know it. But if you have sensors up there and you have a dashboard that's easy to use, you should know 2 months before the filters fail, because you have your differential pressure giving you warnings. You have your fan vibration sensor that's telling you, hey, in 2 months we're going to have a bearing issue. All of those things, in my mind, are revolutionary, and that's where the future of industrial equipment and dust collection is going. Yeah, audits are important, especially when you have a maintenance operations staff that's not focused on dust collection systems, which most of our customers do not. Usually what happens is you have these very expensive, important dust collection systems, which are maintained by your maintenance staff. They're run by your operations. And over time, those people change and move on. And some of the new people may not know what it takes to keep them going. You start seeing issues. You're not quite sure how to diagnose and troubleshoot the issues you're seeing. So bring in someone like Baghouse.com to come and tell you what's wrong with your system, why it's behaving the way it is, some best practices, and we'll make it easy for your maintenance and your operations people to know, here's what you need to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Here's why you're seeing the issues you are. These systems are not highly complex. Usually we can diagnose your issues with a little bullet point list of best practices so you can get your system operating the way it should and put those best practices in so that it keeps operating for the long run. Training is very important, simply because, as I mentioned before, these systems require some knowledge and some know-how to make sure that they're operated and maintained properly. And over time, we found a lot of our customers, our maintenance staffs will change over time. The people who know everything about the dust collectors may, get promoted into a new role or move, and then you have a new batch of people. So we certainly recommend dust collection system training on a yearly basis to make sure the new people are trained up, to make sure that your existing staff gets their refreshers and they know what to do to keep their systems running. We have several different training options. We'll go on site and do classroom style training. We'll go walk the systems with your people. We'll help them do their jobs for maintenance and operations of these systems. We also have online training, so you can sign them up and they can do that once a year as a refresher training to make sure that that know-how remains intact and you don't see what we so often see, which is kind of a drift in maintenance over the years to where the dust collection systems then become, obsolete. They're not performing. They need a bunch of money to, get them back up to speed. What makes Baghouse.com different is that we are a dust collection specialist. We are an integrator in that we don't just sell equipment. We don't just perform dust collection services and inspections. We don't just do the mechanical install. We provide the entire suite of services. Dust collection is our sole focus. So unlike many companies out there that operate on a distributor model, you may deal with a distributor who sells a given brand of dust collector, but has no special knowledge or experience in dust collection. Maybe they also sell conveyors and silos and vents and other things. They're not going to know how to size the system properly. There's going to be all kinds of issues and risks when you go that route, trying to piece together a system with just equipment sales reps. So we take a comprehensive look at your process. We design the system from the ground up using decades of best practices, and we have really the deep expertise in so many different industries and verticals to know how to design and install a dust collection system that's going to work for your process. So one thing we often see is customers, they sell just equipment. They're not going to know how to fix it when it's not working right. They may be interested in just selling you filters over the years, so they'll sell you a system knowing it's not going to perform right because their money is made on the back end with filter sales. Some of the big brands, that's their whole business model. They'll sell you a lower dollar piece of equipment knowing that you'll be stuck buying filters from them, their specialty filters, for the next 10 years at twice the market rate. So that's not our business model. Our business model is to be the one source, the full suite turnkey solution for your dust collection systems. We have a long earned reputation for really deep expertise, customer focus. We want your system to work right. And when we come visit your site a year later, we want to shake your hand and hear how your system is running great. That's what we're in this business for. Yeah, my parting thought is just this: if you're a facility owner, a potential customer looking for a dust collection system, just give us a call. We're happy to partner with you. My personal email is matt, M-A-T-T, @baghouse.com. If you send us a little bit about your project, we have a whole staff of engineers, dust collection experts ready to go to work for you. That's what we live for. That's what we do, and we're the best in the business at it. So send us your project. We'll turn around a quote typically very quickly, within a week. We'll help you solve a bunch of problems, and can't wait to work with you.